Hey, welcome everyone. I am really excited today to go over one of my favorite topics, which is going to be producing a large-scale fashion shoot and making the magic happen. Now, I'm celebrity fashion photographer Kevin Michael Schmitz here, and I shoot huge campaigns for Burberry and Giorgio Armani, and also huge commercial lifestyle advertising campaigns for major beverage and beauty brands. And I've had a lot of experience with producing and essentially planning, designing, creating, and then implementing and shooting large scale productions. So now today we're going to go in depth about how to do that. I'm going to be revealing kind of behind the scenes of the process, the step-by-step process of how you can do it so that I can help you achieve and create absolutely breathtaking images. Now, this is something that it does take a lot of skill. It does take a lot of time and effort. And most importantly, it takes a tremendous amount of a network to build and to create incredible content like you see here. And I know you guys have seen a lot of these images that we just shot. These were actually shot last week during our Elite MasterClass, where we had the opportunity to photograph on location over the course of 5 days with 4 massive scale different location sets, including a $16 million beach house in Hermosa Beach, to the LA Circus, which is what you see here, which is actually the film set for The Greatest Showman, as well as Water for Elephants with Robert Pattinson and Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman. And also we actually shot at this incredible stone cabin up in the mountains with a giant black stallion and incredible production. We also shot at a desert location that was out in with a dry lake bed out in the middle of the desert with unbelievable flowing dresses and parachutes. And then at the circus, we even had llamas, and we shot with all these incredible props. I think we had close to 20 semi trucks full of props. And everybody that attended this amazing experience got to go and actually pick out all the props. And we were able to build this set. So literally what you're looking at right here, we built this entire set. We had it, we essentially selected all the items that we wanted, and then we had our team come in and build it. We had about 8 people building it, including large equipment and everything like that. So it's putting all these things together and making the magic happen. And of course, the photographers that attended got the experience to be a part of that, which was a lot of fun. And they got to design and come up with the ideas and then execute them. So anyway, so today I'm going to be bringing on some of my photographers, some of my brilliant photographers that attended this experience with me. We're going to walk through and talk about the experience, the creative process of how they came up with these ideas, and then how we were able to execute it. Now, for me personally, I get a lot of joy out of this. And I realize that a lot of photographers, they think that, taking a great picture has all to do with having the right aperture and shutter speed and ISO and, having the right settings and the right equipment and being in the right place. Now, while that is somewhat important, what's far more important is the scale of the production. It's what is in front of your camera. It's everything that has been put in place and produced so that all that magic can be created. So, in the end, the top photographers in the world have the greatest productions. They have supermodels, they have celebrities, they have huge production sets, they have these unbelievable stories that they can tell. And that's what makes them so spectacular. It's the production quality. And when you have that ability at your fingertips, it can change the game. And that's actually why, I created and founded the Photography Workshop Series 16 years ago, was for the sole purpose of giving photographers the opportunity to do that. Whereas, if you're in a place, if you're not, located in Manhattan and you don't have connections with all the supermodels, from Elite and Ford and Wilhelmina and Next and Vision, all the top agencies in LA and New York, sometimes it's hard to produce and make all this magic happen. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that and kind of my step-by-step process, the model casting process, the planning process, film permits, location finding, coordinating the equipment, the production, the photo assistants, to all the wardrobe. I had about $50,000 worth of wardrobe that I bought personally for the shoot, on top of what my fashion stylist pulled. and which was a tremendous amount. And we're going to get in depth about that because that's probably one of the most difficult aspects of the entire production is actually the wardrobe. Far more difficult than handling even the models or the locations or anything like that. So it becomes really, really complicated. Also having the right stylists, having the right hair and makeup people. I mean, this goes a long way. And what I mean by that is, we're not just working with everyday regular hair and makeup people. We're working with some of the best stylists in the world. I mean, these are unbelievable stylists that, for instance, we had the creative director from Paul Mitchell, Noogie Tai. I mean, his work is just absolutely breathtaking. It's on another planet as far as quality, as far as production level. And as you can see in the images, and we're going to go in depth about that, we're going to showcase a lot of images. We're also going to show a lot of behind the scenes images so you guys get an idea of what it all looked like building this production from the ground up, which was kind of cool. So anyway, when we are working with something that's really creative, for instance, like this is a very creative type of production, the one we're talking about today, I like to bring on stylists that can also be super creative, meaning that these stylists, they're not just there to make the hair look beautiful. They're there to make it look completely over the top and ridiculous. So they really get to play, which a lot of times they love, because most of the times when we're doing big productions, we're kind of holding the stylist back because otherwise they're going to go too crazy and too wild. So in this case, we're going to showcase some of the stuff, as far as the amazing hair that these stylists were able to create, that they were able to play. They were able to just get completely wild and create absolute magic. And also the propping, finding all these amazing props. Of course, it helps when you have a location that is literally designed for circus props, which is pretty cool. And by the way, this is only one of the 5 days that I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to also give you guys a little preview of some of the other days that we worked on as well. But this is, this just gives you a little bit of a taste of one of our big productions. And I love showcasing stuff like this because this is not just me on set, doing a huge commercial campaign. This is you guys. These are our actual photographers that are attending our workshops that are creating this magic. And all the images that I'm showing you today, these are photographed by our attendees on location at these productions. I'm the one that makes all the magic happen so that essentially you can be a superstar. That's really what this is about. So anyway, so this is a little bit of a behind the scenes. Now, what I love about this is, I know it's kind of a complex shot, but essentially we're shooting 2 full productions simultaneously here. And at some of these epic workshop days, we were shooting 3 sets simultaneously, where we have 3 entire productions going on at the same time with all the lights and all the giant scrims and bounces and production teams and everything like that. But I had enough team members to make all of this happen. So, and what's interesting about this scene is that this is a very complex set that we built, right? So, when I arrived, prior to this production, I planned this out with a location owner, and literally it was just an empty parking lot. This is just a parking lot. So we had them build this. I think the only thing that was there was the Ferris wheel. Everything else, and it was just parked in the background. Everything else, from the backdrops, the blue and white, the blue and red backdrops, to the circus tent, to the cage, to the wagons, to the cannon, to the gold horses, to the unicycle. All that stuff was built and brought in, which is kind of cool. So essentially, this is kind of a little bit earlier in the day. You could see kind of, after we brought in all of the props and we kind of had them stacked and ready. The circus tent was built the day before, and then everything else was kind of assembled in the morning, which was a lot of fun because the photographers got to run around and like pick out what they wanted. And then we were able to, essentially get everything approved by the location owner and then place it on set and then essentially build the set, which is kind of fun and interesting. All right. By the way, it's great to see a lot of you guys on here. I know I see a bunch of photographers that have not only taken a bunch of workshops before, but also a lot of great photographers that were there in person because we had a sold out workshop at this one. So it's good to see you guys, all of those you guys who attended. I know the great Tom J was there. Carl Wu shot some epic images. Joel Mora, you shot some amazing content. Gulson not only shot incredible content, but he actually shot with Hasselblad on film. So I'm going to be showcasing some of that content as well today. And we had Just absolutely stunning images from all of our photographers. They all shot the greatest images of their lifetime. Now, the challenging thing about this, let's start off, like if we're going to build a set like this and we're going to produce a shoot and we want to do, you know, a circus idea, right? It all comes down to the initial inspiration, right? We come up with the concept of what we're going to do for an initial inspiration of the story that we want to tell, right? Now, the story that we want to tell, you know, it's really, really interesting and cool, but it's like, it's kind of seems impossible. And I know for many of you guys, you've probably always wanted to do some really big, epic, you know, production photo shoot, but sometimes kind of might have felt like, hey, I don't even know how something like this is possible. I don't even know, like, if you could even do a shoot like this, or the sheer cost of it would be, you know, just unattainable for me and absolutely ridiculous. And a lot of photographers feel that way. I get it. I totally get it. And that's an understandable feeling. But with us and with, you know, myself, I've been doing this for so long and I have so many relationships and connections that it's okay. I can literally create anything you could possibly imagine. And I can have, essentially, I can create it out of nothing. And we can build a production that's out of this world that you might not have even dreamed of before because it's so ridiculous and over the top. And that's what I get really excited about, is productions like this. And since we, you know, with the photography workshop series, we are the most elite photographic workshop in the world. So what it gives us the opportunity is to have the budget to be able to do it, to be able to make this magic happen. So this gives you a little idea about some of our inspiration. Now, some of this was inspired by some of the photographers that attended at these epic workshops. Actually, some of these ideas were specifically for one of our photographers, Michael Weilet, who had actually enrolled in the workshop, but he ended up booking some massive scale advertising campaign during the week. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it, but some of his concepts carried on. And some of our other amazing photographers like Teresa and Lenworth had come up with some incredible ideas as well that lent their way to this, as well as Nick Ward. So we created these ideas. Now, these were inspired by scenes that were actually shot at this location. So, you know, many of these scenes, I think about half of these scenes were actually shot at this location. So we shot, you know, we got some ideas and concepts that were actually done at this place. And then we essentially kind of, you know, got into our own concepts of what we wanted to do. So it started with this. And I love Pinterest. And the reason I love Pinterest is just because with Pinterest, it's so easy to conceptualize and come up with new, fun, you know, ideas and concepts. And we're able to essentially not only find something that's interesting and resonates with us, but then also it kind of, you know, auto-populates with AI all these other ideas. You can even see that with like the More Ideas tab, right? And you can click on that. And I love doing that, you know? So, you know, I have all these concepts here, and then I just click More Ideas, and then all these other ideas come up that are trying to be in line with it. And some of them are, you know, similar, and some of them are not. Circus is pretty out there, and there's not a lot of people who've done circus fashion shoots just because of the sheer cost and the scale of the production. But this gives you a little bit of ideas, some of the other maybe fashions and some of the other ideas and stuff like that, zebras and you know, kind of cool things. But anyway, but I'm going to start out with my concept, and, you know, I might select an image like this that I just find absolutely beautiful, famous photographer, has some incredible work. And then it's going to also auto-populate all these other ideas of other concepts and other shots done. Like this is another one. This is done at that location as well. You know, circus kind of production. So, you know, completely ridiculous, completely over the top. And now we can start kind of building and add, oh, here's another one that kind of like, you know, lends itself to it, right? It lends itself to the concept. So we're going to keep, you know, building and coming up with these ideas. And this is just a fun, creative design element of the process. This is the creative process when we start planning and producing these large scale production experiences, whether it's a campaign, whether it's an editorial, whether it's a photographic workshop, no matter what it is. And even if you guys are shooting portraits or weddings or something like that on the consumer market, you can do the same. So absolutely, I do this. So it starts with these inspiration boards. And I absolutely love these. I think these are incredibly brilliant ideas. And then what we can do is then take this and then come up with a creative brief, which is essentially a concept, you know, where we take all of these images and then we put them into a final story. You know, so an example of that would be something like this. This is from kind of another story that we're going to be doing at the French Castle. This gives you a little bit of an idea of like a you know, French or Italian type of story. And we're going to be doing this at the French Dream Castle this summer, is something in line with this, right? Where it's going to be period piece and completely over the top and ridiculous. And this is another concept. And if you guys, you know, aren't familiar with us yet, you know, you're not familiar with the Photography Workshop Series and myself, then, you know, you probably haven't experienced the French Dream Castle. However, it is something that's really special, and it is something that we are planning literally right now. As I just personally, because I literally grew up from nothing. I grew up in a small village of less than 2,000 people with absolutely, you know, just the bare basics growing up. I didn't have any family connections. I had zero money, and I just started out my career with about $150,000 in debt, in student debt, you know, to do my bachelor's and pursue my MFA to be a professor of photography. But I then went on to do really well as a photographer and a commercial director. And throughout that process, I was able to buy a 49-room palace in France. And this, you know, here it is. And this palace, designed to be identical to a palace that kind of resonating with the whole like Versailles feel on the inside. I've completely reimagined the interior, and I've literally transformed the entire interior so that it resonates with the Palace of Versailles. So if you guys have ever been to Paris, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And the cool thing about this is I literally fly here in just a few weeks, literally directly following our Miami Beach workshop. I'm going to be flying to the castle in France, and we're going to be filming a new TV show here at my castle, and it's going to be really exceptional. It's called Chateau DIY. I'm going to be hosting and directing, and we're also going to be featuring a large-scale production fashion shoot during a final filming of one of the episodes of the show, which is going to be really cool. But anyway, that inspiration concept creative brief I just shared with you is a concept that we're going to be incorporating into this production that we have coming up that's going to happen in July, which I know some of you guys are attending, which I'm really excited to see you. But this is going to be an unbelievable experience where it's a 6-day, 5-night getaway with 4 massive scale production shoot days, and you get to stay in a 49-room palace. And literally, you're going to be sleeping on a $30,000 gold leaf bed. You're going to be getting, we have a masseuse on premise. You have a butler serving you drinks. We've got unbelievable Michelin star chefs. It's an incredible experience that's literally unparalleled. But this gives you an idea of some of the creative vision that led to some of these scenes that you see here, because we used a similar creative brief on the last workshop that you see here. Incorporated both fashion and some wedding, and even we did some high fashion, more modern stuff, as well as we ended up doing some lingerie stuff as well. But the images you see here obviously are a bit more wedding and fashion from those stories, because we, of course, shot over the course of 4 production shoot days. This was actually on one of the fashion days, to give you an idea. So it starts out as an idea, and then we execute it into this magic, right? And this is going to be really exciting. So if you guys are interested in doing something like this, let me know. Let one of our team know. I think there is one final spot left in the French Dream Castle, which I am really excited to host you guys. And I will be there personally hosting you and giving you guys an experience of a lifetime. I know some of the photographers on here right now have attended this one. I know Evan Siegel, he came to the last one, as well as Michael Weilet. He was there as well, had amazing experiences. So some of these images are from those photographers, actually the ones that are on right now live during this webinar. Anyway, so to create magic, we essentially are starting off with the concept. So, you know, we started off with the circus idea. And this was inspired actually by Mike and by, you know, Teresa and by Nick and a couple other photographers. They came up with these brilliant ideas. Now, the challenging part is executing. And this is where kind of some of the secret sauce comes in. And I have a lot of experience doing this, so I'm going to kind of reveal some of my secrets, because for me, I'm an open book. Everything I tell you guys, it's all practical information that I use, and I wish I had. And I wish I had the knowledge and the connections, the network, the ideas that I have now. I wish I had that when I first started out, because it would have made life so much easier, and it would have led to a faster success trajectory for me. And I really wish I had that, but I didn't. I had to do it the hard way. For you, I want to make sure you guys have everything at your fingertips. And that's why I love jumping on these live webinars and having you guys jump on as well, because I'm here to help, you know, essentially give you all the secret strategies of what I do. Okay, so we came up with that inspiration board. Now, the idea of shooting a circus, of course, it's pretty complex. Like, where do we find something like this? This is so ridiculous. This is the craziest thing I could ever imagine. So now I started researching, and in this case, I've done this a shoot at this location once before, but the very first time I found it, I had discovered that Christian Schuler content, that really epic circus fashion story that, he had a famous book about it. And he's a brilliant photographer, and he did all this, this gorgeous stuff, right? So just to refresh your memory, this is the Christian Schuler. He's a German photographer. So he had done, some epic shoots there at that location. So I was like, okay, great. So I researched it. I found out, where it was done. Usually in the editorial credits, you'll find like where the shoot was done. They'll usually list the location name, as well as the fashion stylist, hairstylist, makeup artist, models, the credits for the wardrobe, what outfits were on, all that stuff. So I looked it up and I found out, okay, it's LA Circus. Now this is, East LA. And actually, I live between California, Florida, and the Palace in France. But my place in California is pretty far from here. I mean, it's like an hour and a half drive. So it's out in the middle of the desert. I live on the beach. This is really far inland. So it's a beast of a drive to get out there, and it's in the middle of nowhere. But it's called LA Circus. It's literally the film set for the famous movies, The Greatest Showman, with Hugh Jackman, as well as and Zendaya, as well as they use it like all the propping for The Greatest Showman. It was all done by these guys, right? So The Greatest Showman, just to refresh your memory, it's a really cool film about essentially it's kind of the origins of the circus, and really, really cool story. So The Greatest Showman, essentially, this was one of the, the films that had been, heavily, heavily done with all these props and everything we're working with, as well as they had also done Water for Elephants with Robert Pattinson. If you guys, and I think they filmed most of that film at the LA Circus, which is pretty cool. So, really, really cool to have access to these kinds of locations, because wow, like to be able to have major movie sets, that's that's a challenge, just to have access. This is Water for Elephants, just to refresh your memory on something like that. So anyway, now these locations, major film sets like this, and to have access to all the props, typically it's about $20,000 a day. Roughly. I think they do it as low as $15,000, but it's between $15,000 and $20,000 a day just to have access to the location and the props. And that's typical for them. And I was actually in their office when they were negotiating with a client about, he wanted to do it for, I think like under 15, he wanted to do it for 12,000. They're just like, no, we won't even talk to you. It's like 15 to 20,000 is the range, depending on how much manpower they use to set up all the sets or and everything like that. And that's per day. Now, that's a big budget, right? Many of you guys don't have access to like 20 grand just to throw at a location. And on top of that, the top supermodels that have been in Vogue and Vanity Fair and Harper's Bazaar. And by the way, we shot with 15 top models this last week. Literally 15 models over the course of 5 days. Some have been in Elle, Vogue, Harper's Bazaar. Some have done GUCCI campaigns. I mean, these are top A-list models. Also, celebrity hairstylists like the creative director from Paul Mitchell. I also worked with one of the best makeup artists in the world, Eric Torp, who does all the biggest celebrities. We also worked with Terry, who is she's like literally one of the greatest hairstylists as well, who also does she did the Barbie movies. She does all the Mattel stuff. She's huge. And then on top of that, we worked with the best fashion stylists. Some of the best fashion stylists in the world. These are fashion stylists that like Oliver Vaughn, who he does Dior, he does Gucci, he does Louis Vuitton, and he's a creative director for a magazine. He was our fashion stylist. We had another fashion stylist, Damaris Valverde, who also does Vogue, and she's a world-class fashion stylist. So I brought in the A-list team. Now, it's not easy to find these people, okay? So this is a process to find them. But I'm going to show you kind of a way in which I find them. One of the strategies would be, looking up people that have published in editorials before. So if there's a magazine you like, if you like Vogue or Vanity Fair or Harper's Bazaar or Elle, look up the editorials. You can find them online. Look up the editorials and find out who photographed it, of course. That's fine, just so you know. But look up the fashion stylists, the hairstylists, the makeup artists. And sometimes if you can't find their information or contact number, maybe even call the photographer and get the photographer to send that stylist information over to you. Another method that I like to do is just literally go online and look at all the styling agencies, because there's a lot of them that essentially just do fashion styling. The downside of this is that they're mostly all in New York. I mean, like probably 80% of them are in New York. Now, this shoot is in LA. So hiring a New York fashion stylist isn't going to really help me in LA unless I fly them in, which sometimes I do. But in this case, I didn't. I wanted to find a local one in Los Angeles that had all the access to the showrooms. Now, this is important because the process of getting wardrobe and totally over the top production wardrobe, which, remember, we saw our Pinterest board of what we're getting for the story. And we saw your creative brief. So some of the concepts of, big, elegant dresses and stuff like that. Well, we also need to make sure that we're going to find that wardrobe. I have to buy some of it. I also need to borrow some of it, because some of the stuff you can't even buy. It's all like couture stuff that you can only find in PR houses and fashion showrooms in Los Angeles. And they mostly have showrooms in LA and New York. You can't really find them in many other places other than in LA and New York, but that's where you can find them. So I found fashion stylists that are A-list that also have access to these showrooms. In addition to that, because I don't ever trust a stylist, and this is kind of another secret strategy, you guys, because I've worked with hundreds, probably right around 400 fashion stylists in my career. Hair and makeup artists, I've probably worked with at least 1,200 of those, but fashion stylists, about 400 or so, roughly. Of those, I've only personally liked about 4. So when you have 1 in 100 are good, and the rest of them are either bad at styling, difficult to work with, lazy, they pull bad apparel, they don't pull enough apparel, or the worst case scenario, they flake, or they essentially hold you for ransom, meaning like you agreed on a rate, you're going to pay them X amount of dollars. And just so you know, a typical fashion stylist is, about $2,500 per day, per shoot day, plus pulling day and return day. So over 5 days, you're looking at, essentially probably 3 pull days, 2 return days, 5 shoot days. You're looking at 10 days times $3,000. You're looking at $30,000 for typical fashion. That's just for them, just for the fashion stylists. On top of that, they have a styling assistant, typically $300 to $500 a day, also times 10 days. So, you're looking at another, say say $5,000 on top of, on top of the 30. So 35,000 would be just for the cost of that fashion stylist and his assistant or her assistant. So just gives you context of what I'm talking about. Then we've got, they have to go and pull from the showrooms, which oftentimes the showrooms, the PR showrooms, they have a lot of great stuff, but they're going to make you pay for it. A lot of times they're going to charge rental fees for the outfits, which I don't particularly like to do, because it obviously gets expensive. And then also you have to pay for like dry cleaning if you've got any issues. If the dress gets dirty. I'll give you an example. This was another one of the shots. Great scene, absolutely stunning. A-list model. This is actually like a celebrity model. Her dad is Dolph Lundgren from the Rocky movies, and this is Ida Lundgren. So this is Dolph Lundgren's daughter, and she's an A-list top model. Anyway, so she's wearing this unbelievable dress. This extremely expensive designer, dress, ridiculous dress, perfect for the scene. But there was the photo assistant on this didn't wipe down the bicycle properly. So when she leaned in, she got all this dirt and dust all over the back of this dress. Well, that's a huge problem, because, could damage a, $5,000 dress, or it would cost hundreds of dollars, usually a few $100s at least in dry cleaning just to clean it. So that's a cost that I have to eat. Right. So that sucks. It does happen. And in this case, it did, but that's all part of this. So that's another reason, I'm really careful about where we pull from and also where we buy from. So what I was saying earlier about a fashion stylist flaking, this has happened to me, I think about 4 times now, where we agreed upon a rate. The fashion stylist is about to, they pulled the clothes, or supposedly going to pull the clothes, and then they're going to show up and dress the models in the clothes. And then literally the day before, they were like, okay, I want 3 times the money, or I'm not going to show up. And of course, they have you over a barrel, because literally you can't do the shoot without the stylist, and you can't cancel on everybody. So you have to just go for it, which is awful. Now, When this has happened, of course, I blacklist that stylist. I never work with them again, and it is a problem. So it can be really, really complex. So you do need to build trust with these people. You need to know that they're not going to, screw you over. So making sure that you really have backup plans in order too, because you can't always trust these people. So I have kind of backup upon backup upon backup. So one way to do it is have additional fashion stylists kind of on hold just in case they flake, because fashion stylists are probably some of the flakiest of all the people you're going to get involved with. So I usually have a fashion stylist that I book, and then fashion stylists that I have on hold. They call it like a first hold. And you negotiate how much ahead of time, but you just let them know I may or may not need you on these dates, but just have them on hold just in case. Now, leading up to that, like the week before, generally you have to let them know whether they're pulling or not. But just play it by ear. Go, play it by ear. That's what I recommend. Now, in this case, in addition to all these clothes that the stylist pulled, and by the way, this was a 5-day shoot. So one day at the circus, we had one day at the desert, one day at the Stone House. We had 2 days on location at a $16 million beach house. One of the days we actually shot with like a James Bond story, and we shot with weapons, like with guns and machetes. It was really cool. So we'll showcase some of that too. But in regards to this, I bought an additional $50,000 in clothes because I don't mess around. I want to make sure that if my stylist flakes or doesn't have enough or something's off, I have enough clothes to cover me. I didn't end up using a lot of it because my stylist did such a great job. They were so professional and they knocked it out of the park, but I did it anyway. And what I do, and this is my strong secret and recommendation for you guys, is go and buy everything. If it's high-end designer clothes, buy it from high-end department stores. So whether it's Neiman Marcus, whether it's Bergdorf Goodman, whether it's Macy's, whether it's Nordstrom, I would say Nordstrom's the best because they have the best return policy. They're going to be the absolute best at sending, basically giving you all your money back. That way, there's no liability. So you put it on your credit card, $50,000, and if you guys don't have that limit, you can need to start now. Like literally today, at the end of this webinar, go out there and apply for a 0% credit card so that you can have 0% credit card on hand. Like the Bank of America one, I think it's like 18 months, 0%. That way, all the charges you make, whether they're hard costs that you need to eat or whether you're buying, $50,000 in wardrobe, you don't have to pay any interest on it. And then by the time you use it and then mail it back, and then it takes like a week or so for them to process it, you're not charging any interest. So that's my method. And I do this all the time, cyclically. Like every shoot, I'm doing this, buying and returning, buying and returning. I personally prefer Nordstrom the most just because of the best return policy. Also, if it's anything that's like low end, I would use Amazon for anything low end, especially for props. Fantastic for props. I use Amazon like crazy for buying and returning gear, props, cabanas, tents, tables, fans, leaf blowers to blow wind, all kinds of things like that. Amazon's amazing. Never had an issue. And I spend at least $300,000-$400,000 a year on Amazon. And then I return the majority of that. So that's just a typical cycle for me, just to give you guys an idea and understanding. But that's a normal process that I go through. So if you want to do high-end production, honestly, these are some of the secrets. These do work. Trust me. Okay, McCall Jones, I just want to answer some of your guys' questions. McCall, great to see you, buddy. I know you missed out on this one. This literally would have blown your mind. But I know you attended one of our last workshops and it was stellar. But McCall, you asked if this was shot with an 8x8 scrim. This was shot with strobes. So this one, I think we had a scrim we had an 8x8 bounce, but we used primarily for this specific scene, I believe we shot this with strobes. So we shot this with, in fact, I think you can see it in you can see here. Actually, this one I think did have a bounce on the left side, but primarily it was shot with that B1. So we had strobes on this one to give you an idea of how we lit this. So anyway, fashion styles, super, super key to do that. They pull all these amazing styles in line with my concepts. And then I'm going to take the next step of of course, hiring the right hairstyles. So you can see some of this hair is completely ridiculous. It's totally over the top, right? It's amazing. It's really, really interesting. And I love some of these stories. And the hair really adds to some of the concepts here, right? It's very, very, very cool. The hair is just wild. And that's where, we have a guy like Nugi Tai, who is just genius with hair. And this is somebody that, creative director from Paul Mitchell. I like to find people that are A-list like this. This is a guy that I had noticed because he had done some really high concept hair for like hair campaigns, as well as big time editorials, as well as he had done some high conceptual like competitions and stuff. And this is how I found this guy years ago. I've actually been working with Nugi for 16 years. So I've known this guy a long time. I've worked with him for many, many years, and I have my built-in crew. And because this was such a high production shoot with such crazy hair, I'm like, okay, I got to book Nugi because he's the right guy for the job. So that's another part of it, you guys, is you have to find the right people for the right project. And in this case, Nugi was the right guy, to bring on for the hair on this. Whereas Terry, who was in magnificent hairstyles, I had her on some of the other sets to do beautiful hair on scenes where it didn't need to be as ridiculous as something like this. It was more like beauty hair, which was also beautiful and great. And she did amazing stuff. But just gives you a little bit of an idea. And by the way, all these shots, guys, everything I'm showing you, this is shot by our photographers that were on location with me. I'm just there to produce it, art direct it, tell some of the stories, and actually make this magic happen so the photographers look like absolute heroes. So, all right. And I love all the comments and messages. Good to see you, Matt Shogun. He was there. He was on set. We're going to be showcasing some of his content as well. Good to see you, buddy. You shot epic stuff. We had, oh my gosh, just some absolutely amazing people on set with us. I love all the comments and all the positivity here. McCall Jones had mentioned a great comment. I have many years of producing and project management experience, so I'm very happy and relieved that what it is, in my view, is the actual hard part is mostly second nature for me, so I can actually focus on the shoot. A recent shoot I had to manage 7 models in 2 locations, $20 million mansions, and separate, well-appointed office. I was able to plan it down to the minute. Why is this important? To maintain client confidence during the production. It all matters. Love that comment, McCall. Absolutely. And McCall got to work with me personally on set, and he got to see all the magic happen on these productions. So he gets it, and he's able to execute, which is what we want to see. That's what it's all about. And good to see you, Prince and Lenworth. I know you guys did incredible stuff. You were there also on location at this workshop. So good to see you guys. I think most of the attendees that were at the workshop are on this Zoom right now, which is really great to see you guys. I also want to invite you on to be a panelist so we can also talk to you and see some of your images and have you guys talk a little bit about your experiences and stuff like that, which is awesome. That's a big part of what we love to do here, because to show off what you've done and also, talk about kind of the creative process in which, you made all this magic happen, which is fantastic. So anyway, so I'm giving you guys some secrets here. Another method that I did, and I do want to, tell you, this is kind of in line with the fashion styling aspect, because again, that's the most valuable, probably the most valuable thing you guys are going to take away today is the fashion styling process, which is probably one of the most difficult things to do. So another method I did for this was I booked a fashion stylist for the first couple days. Damaris Valverde, who I've worked with before. She's done unbelievable stories with me. She's incredible fashion stylist. She's done Vogue. She's world class, and I'm very confident in her. And she's styled multiple shoots with me, so I know that Damaris has done epic stuff, and I know that like what she can do is going to be like knock it out of the park production. So she wasn't on the circus shoot, but she was on the other 2 of the days. And this is her content that she's done in the past. So knowing her and how great she is, I knew that she was going to knock it out of the park for this story. And that's why I had her style some of the scenes like a James Bond story and stuff, because I know that she can do stuff similar to that. So she did an amazing job, and she's incredible. So I brought in stylists that I knew and I'd worked with before for some of the stories. And this gives you a little bit of an idea of some of her work. And she was beautiful. But I was like, what, for the circus thing, I want to go even next level and something even more ridiculous. So I brought in another super high tier fashion stylist, Oliver Vaughn, who's from London. And and the way I found him, I contacted like 15 styling agencies. I also got on models.com, which is a great website and resource. And I looked up all the styling agencies with the best stylists. So I literally found like the best fashion stylists. And most all of them are represented by an agent. And just to give you guys context, going through agents is great because you know that they're going to follow through, and they're usually agency represented stylists are usually the best stylists. However, they're also going to be, you know, unless you're super, super established photographer, a lot of times those styling agencies are not going to work with you, right? They're real pompous. They're kind of difficult to get in the loop with. And these type of people, they're not going to be the, they're not going to be the people that are going to be just like, oh yeah, Joe Schmo down the block, I'll let you work with my fashion stylist. No way. These people, it's like, if you've shot for Vogue, if you've shot for Burberry, they'll work with you, right? So a lot of times they're gatekeepers, and, you know, unless you have an unlimited budget and, you know, you've got, you know, you're shooting a $500,000 shoot, they're probably not going to waste their time with you, right? That being said, the fashion stylists themselves still might want to work with you. So what I do is I look up, kind of a secret, what I do is I go in and I look at all these agencies and I find the stylists that they represent. And then I try to pick out and I try to research those stylists. Oftentimes they have websites, oftentimes they have Instagrams, and I contact them personally. So that's what I did. I contact, and just to give you guys context, I do everything in quantity. And I recommend you guys all do the same. So for instance, in this case, I contact, I think, 20 of the top fashion stylists in Los Angeles. And only maybe 5 of them responded of the 20 that I emailed. And of those, I think, you know, there were 2 that were like totally on board. And I selected my favorite, which was Oliver. And I ended up booking him, and he was incredible. And he did, you know, the kind of concepts and shoots that we're just looking at right now. And he did an amazing job. He styled 3 of the 5 days. Damaris styled the other 2 days. And he knocked out of the park. But since I'd never worked with him before, even though he's an A-list stylist, I still was extra careful, and I still bought the extra $50,000 in clothes just because I want to make sure everything's going to go like, you know, to the T, the best of the best of the best. And it did. It ended up being even greater than I even expected, which was fantastic. And we had less damage and problems because normally we're shooting in deserts and dust and all dirt and all that stuff. And oftentimes we have a lot of damage, which cost me money. We had very, 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 very minimal. We did everything kept really clean. We did an amazing job on the back end. Okay, so that's fashion stylists. We talked about hairstylists, makeup artists. The next thing too is models, right? And models, I mean, guys, models are everything. I mean, if you don't have the right models, I mean, good luck. It's just, you don't have a shoot. It comes down to the models. It all comes down to the models. And if you don't have the right models, I mean, forget about it. It's not going to work out. So that's one of the things that we need to have access to is the best models in the world. And if you don't, well, that's okay. I can help you with that because that's something that, you know, I'm here to help facilitate and give you guys an experience to shoot mind-blowing content with A-list models. And that's why, you know, the images look as awesome as they do is because the models are amazing. You know, these are some of the best models in the world. And because we have some of the best models in the world, that's why the images look absolutely stunning and completely over the top and ridiculous because the models are so gorgeous. They're so fantastic. So that's why, you know, we want to go with A-list models. We don't want to go with anyone mediocre. You never want to use new faces. You never want to use some unrepresented model. You always want all of the models to be the best possible models that you can find. And it really, 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 really does make a difference. And it literally is a crux to your shoot, you know? So even more important than the location, it's going to be the stylists and the models. You got to have epic, epic models and stylists. So to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes of exactly you know, how I manage all of this, I'll give you guys a little bit of behind the scenes of what this actually looks like on paper. I create these little databases, and I love doing this. This just helps me kind of keep everything in line so that everything is very, very neat and tidy, and I know and I can keep track of everybody. So this gives you a little bit of an example of like my database. This is some of the, I never share this, by the way. No one ever sees any of this. I'm only sharing it with you guys live right now because we're talking about this, and this is something that's really cool. All the ones in red are ones we booked. The ones in purple were all the backups. And I had a bunch more in purple before, but I removed them as I kind of went throughout the week. But this gives you a little bit of an idea. These are all models that we booked for the shoot, just to give you a little bit of a taste, right? For each day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then all the backups. Then we have all these databases, and just gives you an idea. This is like my database of every single interaction I have with my modeling agencies over the last like 15 years. Okay. So you can see like all the emails, all of this stuff. I mean, this goes on and on and on and on and on and on. So this gives you an idea. And this is just my Los Angeles agencies. Okay. I have lists like this for every major city in the world, from Los Angeles to New York, Miami, Chicago, DC, Atlanta, Dallas, Denver, Paris, London, Milan, Istanbul, Sydney. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I've got lists like this for every single major city because I've done productions everywhere. And I keep track of this so I know who are the agents, who are the current agents, and who do I need to speak to? Who do I need to send an email to in regards to that? So then what I also do is I have, of course, craft a very carefully worded email to these agents requesting top models, right? That's a big part of this. And then after that, they send me options, and then I choose from the best of the best of the best options. And that's kind of how it all pans out, so that we get the best of the best of the best people. And, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for A-list models that'll just completely, you knock it out of the park, the A-list, the best of the best people, girls and guys, because I cast, both girls and guy models for this. And, anyway, so when I request the modeling package, they're then going to send me a package of models. I'm going to select through the package, and usually they'll send me anywhere from 10 models to like 40 models. And I'm doing this with 15 different agencies. So in the end, I mean, I'm casting through, I don't know, maybe 300 models or so that I'm selecting from to make these final 15 choices. This is an example of one of the models we booked. Ashley, she was absolutely stunning. We shot her multiple days throughout the week. She was absolutely amazing. She just came in town from New York, and obviously, you saw her in that cover shot that we shot, and she was absolutely stunning. Some of the things I'm looking for is I'm looking for her sizes. I like the fact that she's a size 2. She could fit in any dress. She's got a great body. I also looked at videos of her. So like oftentimes they'll send like video links so that I can see like what she looks like when she moves, what her personality is like. Is she American? Is she from another country? Does she speak English? Those kind of things. All those things are important to know. And throughout that process, I'm going to be making my judgments based on that. No, most importantly, I'm looking for fashion. I'm looking at bone structure. And she has the best bone structure here, right? So absolutely stunning. I would say my preference in height would be somewhere between 5'9" and 5'11". She's 5'8", but because, her face is so strong and she's done so many huge campaigns, I was like, you know what? She's amazing. And I booked her anyway, and she ended up being one of our favorite models. She was absolutely stunning. But we also booked models that were 5'11" as well. So we did have models at different heights. So it just gives you a little bit of a taste of some of, the process of what this looks like when we're actually doing the casting, right? And we're selecting some of these creme de la creme models, and we're deciding among them, who do we want? Which models, are we looking for that we totally love? And throughout this process, we're going to pick the best of the best of the best. And then what I do is I have the best of the best, and then I have like the best of the best of the best from another agency. And then essentially I'll have different tiers of agencies. And of course, I'm always going to go to the top tier first and then go down from there. But in this case, I mean, honestly, at this production, we had some of the best models we've ever worked with in the history of the photography workshop series, which is amazing. They were stunning. They're absolutely like beyond ridiculous and over the top. And I was really, really, really proud of the content that we shot because it was just so epic, so ridiculous. And because of that, we were able to create, some of the greatest images we've ever done ever at the workshop. And the photographers, they became superstars because the content was just so freaking good. I mean, it was just so ridiculous. And we're going to be going in depth about that. So, to give you a little bit of a taste of like, a package sent from an agency, this is what one would look like. And they send, this is one of the 15 agencies. They send me options, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, these girls are gorgeous. This girl really caught my eye. She's 5'11". She's the right size. She's, she's done, she's a major top model. She's got this incredible bone structure. She's, looks like she's probably, Russian. She's got this just amazing look, and, and she can just work it. And so a girl like this, you know, I was like, yeah, I love it. For what we're doing, we need something with strength, with super strong bone structure, almost like alien looking, but stunningly beautiful, and can like wear any dress. And she towers above every. I mean, look at that bone structure. It's ridiculous. So this is one of our choices. So we booked her. I think we shot with Dorina, I think 3 of the days. It was incredible. And it knocked it out of the park. So anyway, and we're going to be showcasing more and more of the images, but I'm just showing you kind of my process of how I select the models. And if I can see them talking on camera and I can watch a video of them or something, it's going to make me feel a lot more confident, because now I know, like, you know, I get a vibe of like who they are, you know, and what they're like, what their personalities are like. And, you know, and if I get a vibe, then it's like, okay, cool. Like, you know, I get to see them, you know, I go to their social pages and I get to see them, you know, like for instance, that's another strategy. Like I'll go on Dorina's page and then I get to see her page, and then I get to see, you know, her, you know, she's strutting the runway, and, you know, she's absolutely unbelievable as always. And, you know, looks incredible. Yeah. And, you know, things like this are important. I want to see how she walks, how she moves, and you know, what she looks like. So I'm doing this. And a lot of times too, they'll have like digitals, meaning like non super made up scenes, but just quick snapshot. And they have that on the agency website. They also oftentimes have videos as well. But I also like to go in their social media and see like kind of what they're like, and also kind of what they look like with less makeup on, or in, you know, what their bodies really look like right here, I can really see her body. That's great. You know, it's not hidden by clothes. So I kind of know what this is all about. So, yeah. And thanks, Prince. Prince is like, he was there at the workshop. He says, she was wonderful. Absolutely, Prince. She was. And Tom J, all models were awesome. Yeah. And also, yeah. And Deb, if you want to get more information about the workshops themselves, and you want to get involved in these elite experiences, and any of you guys want, there's the website, photographyworkshopseries.com. And this gives you good, you can see everything we have coming up. This is an unbelievable experience. And we are the most elite workshop in the world, bar none. We have been for the last 16 years. We are the most elite workshop. There's nothing that even comes close. And the thing that I'm most proud of, you guys, and I do want to make this really clear, all of the pictures you see, the pictures I've been showcasing, as well as the pictures on our website, they're all shot by attendees that took the workshops. Okay. So it's not like we're going to be showing images that were done by just me and I'm going to be showing off my work and only the great work from campaigns and stuff is on there. I'm showing content like this shot by photographers like David Gesbrecht and Hans J. Paul and Mike Weilet that shot mind-blowing content at our New York workshop, right? All of this content is shot by our attendees, just like you. So, and many of you guys are on right now, shot this content. So you should be super proud. And I'm proud of that because it shows, you know, the awesomeness of what you guys create when given the right production at your fingertips, which is like this. You know, this is on location at a $40 million mansion in New York that we had access to, that I produced for this epic workshop to give you just a taste of what this is all about. So it's super great. Great to see you, Paul. Paul Batson is going to be coming to the French Dream Castle workshop in July, which I'm super excited to host you, buddy. It's going to be absolutely epic. He's one of the lucky photographers coming to that. There is one spot left in that. And if anyone wants to come to the French Dream Castle, I think there is also one spot left in New York. That one's almost closed. But because we had, I believe, 5 photographers last week enrolled in this one in New York, because just everybody that came to MasterClass fell in love and wanted to come to New York. So they're all coming to New York, which is awesome. Matt Chogan says, the models were phenomenal, stunning and professional. Ashley was incredible to work with, as every model was. Matt, I would love for you to come on and be a panelist. So I'm just going to invite you as a presenter, and I'd love to hear from you about your experience personally. And I would love for you to jump on. So I just invited you on. If you want to accept that and jump on and join me as a panelist, I would really, really appreciate that. And I think our photographers would love to hear from you too. Fantastic. Yeah. Excellent. There he is, the great Matt Chogan. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Kevin.
Great to see you. And Matt, did you do you have some epic content up in the Dropbox? That,
I do. My day one's pretty good. He had some good stuff in day 3 as well.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm gonna pull that up.
Sure.
But since I have you on here, Matt, I mean, this was your first experience with us.
Yeah.
This is the very first workshop. I'm really, really, really excited about you attending. You shot the greatest images of your lifetime, like bar none. Tell us about your experience and what it was like being at the photography workshop series Elite Masterclass.
Yeah. So thanks for the time. If I can just give a quick intro. Hey guys. Yeah, my name is Matt. Just to tell you a quick bit about myself. I've actually been more of a hobbyist photographer for years. And I was interested in actually upping my photography game and taking it to the next level. I would say I'm a working professional, and my passion has always been photography, fashion, the allure, just the vibe that it all entails. So in order to make that reality, that dream a reality, I knew I would need to make a change and do some things different. So, embarrassingly, my pool of photo credibility was really limited to friends, families, neighbors, local locations. And just being honest, I needed to step up my game a lot. So I discovered Kevin and his team, and it was literally the best decision I've ever made. This was my first workshop. I was honestly and transparently, like some of you guys probably on this, a little nervous, intimidated, scared. Don't be. Do not be. Questions in my head. Do I have the right equipment? Is my experience credible? Everybody's going to laugh at me. I saw some of the work, Lenworth, Tom J, other people, you guys, I'm awe-inspired. But Kevin, I put full faith in Kevin and his team. It was literally the most epic decision I've ever made in my life. I'm actually signed up for 2 more already. I actually really want to try and even go to Miami. Don't know if we can make that happen, but the concept of the entire production, what Kevin and crew go through to make this dream a reality, it is world-class. It is top-notch. The models were incredible. The set design, the clothing, you see it, you feel it. The production crew, Kevin and crew make everything so easy. You don't really have to lift a finger. You get to shoot. Honestly, Kevin, day one, I'm thinking, okay, I'm kind of a new guy. He's probably gonna just tell me I'm doing great or whatever. And that's not true. Kevin is honest, professional. He was at first like, this is great. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he's probably just saying that. But rather quickly, when my shots were not, no, you need to do this. You need to do this. The respect, the professionalism, the comfort in the tips, the guidance, as were all of the other professional photographers on the sets. Everybody was just so awesome. It was literally, Kevin, just world class. And I have so many photos. The Dropbox probably doesn't even do justice. I'm still sifting through stuff, but if I'm being honest too, I've shared even with my local pool of people, and people's jaws are dropping. They are like this. These images are stunning. And the bookings are coming in. People are reaching out, and friends of friends, and it has just taken me to another level. And this is a true story. Just the other day, I had an interaction with an employee at Macy's, and I ended up getting in looped with their executive team. And because of this content, I'm now going to work with Kevin and team to kind of come up with a strategy for outreach to say, hey, you did say if I need anything, just let you know, this is what I'm doing. So I cannot say enough positive things, and this is just straight truth. And honestly, I'm looking forward to doing so many more sessions. I have a lot of catch up to make to do, but just the confidence boost. I can't say that. The professionalism, the sets, everything is designed and done for you. You show up, you shoot, you learn. And even Kevin, honestly, just is so generous in giving. He was showing us just photo books, lookbooks from previous experiences that he's done, which was very helpful to understand the entire ecosystem, the landscape. We talked about just business strategy, ways to take your photography on another level, from not just the technical digital, but to the actual making this a dream, a reality. So I'm beyond grateful and can't say enough. But yeah, these are some of the images. Kevin, yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's a glowing recommendation. I really appreciate it. But you were also one of the, just brilliant on set. Everyone loved you. And I want to tell you guys, like someone like Matt, he has such a positive, outgoing, like friendly personality. It goes a long way. Because when you're working with these A-list models, like Ashley right here, and I believe like maybe it was Dorina in the background, and which is amazing. I love this scene where it's like just her legs are coming out. We have a Rolls Royce right here, Rolls Royce parked in front of this $16 million mansion in Hermosa Beach, and we have a weapon. I mean, it's just amazing. But what I love about Matt is that like he's so warm that he walks on set and he's nervous. He's new to all this, but the models warm up to him. They loved him. They gave more because he was so easy to work with. And what was great about that, Matt, is like your personality really came through and you were so likable and friendly that it like let their guards down. So then the models are having a blast. And we had, 15 models, I believe, throughout the week, and they were just in heaven. The models were happy. They're super excited because this is some of the biggest production content that they're shooting. I mean, even A-list productions and in major magazines don't shoot at the scale of what we're doing most of the time these days. So anyway, these images were incredible. These were actually on some of the other days of the workshop. This was at this it was a stone cabin up in the mountains, and we shot with this black stallion, and unbelievable location. I mean, just absolutely stunning images here, by the way. This was that part of that James Bond story. I mean, just absolutely breathtaking. Great double page spread as well. And by the way, this is also, we talked about stylists, right? And how I wanted to use, different stylists for different things. And the fashion stylist was perfect for this because she went in for that James Bond story, right? And then the hair was also different on different days as well. So we created these just absolutely magical elements in line with the vision that we came up with. And Matt, you did an amazing job. I can't wait to work with you. We're going to make all your magic happen. We're going to make all your photographic dreams come true. It's just a matter of you literally tell me what you want and I'll make it happen. I mean, it's just simple as that. And I've been doing that for 16 years. And that's why, this is such an elite experience. But we're also very selective. And if those of you guys who are on, I mean, many of you guys who have attended our workshops, you know what I'm talking about. I'm very careful about who I want involved in these. I want guys like Matt. I want photographers like Crystal Bear, who's on right now, and Paul Batson and Tom J, and Mike Weilet, and all these Lenworth Johnson, all these photographers, Prince Williams, that are on right now, that have taken multiple workshops with us over the years. McCall Jones, such a great energy and amazing on set, so wonderful to be with. In person. Evan Siegel, I just did a 3-day one-on-one with Evan on a yacht in Australia. Did the one-on-one with him. I have Carl Wu on, who Matt got to work with this last week, who's an amazing photographer from Chicago, who's done several of our epic workshops. It's really fun to work with you guys and create absolute magic, and then just to see you light up. Because seeing like Matt light up on set, it was so rewarding to me to watch that happen. And also I have other amazing photographers on right now, like Linda Jett, who attended our last masterclass in lifestyle. Great to see you. And Cynthia on as well. Jaime Rivera, who attended as well and came with us on set. Incredible content that he shot. We have all these amazing photographers I've worked with over the years, and it's so good to see all of you guys on right now. I love this. I love seeing past attendees coming on and current and upcoming ones. So Matt, since this is kind of new to you, this large scale, huge production, tell me some of the tidbits or things that you learned that you're gonna want to incorporate going forward on your productions and producing a shoot.
Yeah, great question. I really, honestly, I think I've learned so much. I think it doesn't really matter the gear you have. I think got lost and trapped. Do I have enough of this? I think some of the scrim and bounces just created some of the most natural, epic, just shots on the beach and at the stone house. So I think also the quality of the production is, for something like this, it is elite. I think the takeaways for me specifically were honestly a lot of just confidence in going out and getting what I'm looking for. As you mentioned just in the previous segment, the model quality is that you've selected, Kevin, top notch. It goes to show what true professionals do. Ashley here, I think, was just phenomenal. I was watching her even work with all of us and even make rounds to do different looks and styles, and they made it so easy. So somebody like me who's already a little nerve stricken and not even sure if my settings are right on, I think even Kevin, you came by and said, hey, did you know you're on this setting? I'm like, oh no, I didn't. So it was just so helpful to just also have different understandings of lighting and angles and just different perspective. I think that was key. Also, I think on this day we were shooting at like almost like high noon or two in the afternoon, but with the way you were coordinating and directing the entire set, I think that is something that sticks out to me. It was this orchestration of the supporting, I'm going to say cast, the production folks on set, the models, the different photographers, having us really, I think, empowering us to take charge and have our visions come to life. That was awesome. So yeah, I think I just really learned an entire 360, sincerely, masterclass of what it takes to do this. But at the same time, the confidence that I can do this and I will be doing this and continuing as I've talked to other photographers on this webinar, they're doing it. And, you know, I'm one step behind right there, but it's possible. It is so possible. So that's, I think, some of the biggest takeaways.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And I love this scene too, because this was on our like safari shoot day, right? So, you know, we talked about all these different concepts and stories that we're telling. And this is one in which we did a desert safari story. So each day of the workshop is a completely different production, completely different story, different styling, different concepts and everything. And what I love about this is it allows for all this creativity to play, and it becomes this really, really, really fun experience for us to make all this magic happen. And if you guys want to see the original Pinterest board, this is essentially the inspiration board for this. So it's like a desert safari. We come up with this whole vibe. And so my stylist, I gave this to my stylist. He made all this magic happen. I came in with all the props, the right location, all of that stuff, and even incorporated animals. Like we had this black stallion, which was absolutely amazing in that story. So it was absolutely spectacular. And Matt created some, you know, really spectacular sequences. So this gives you kind of a little bit of a baseline of like where it all starts from. And then once we have that, the concept and the story and the styling and all that jazz, we can then create these magical images, just like, you know, Matt created here, because it's breathtaking. So Matt, what, as far as were there any like aha moments where you're just like, oh my gosh, I just shot the greatest image of my life. I can't believe I just did that. Look at my images. Like, these are completely ridiculous. Like, was there any certain moment of that?
I think so. Definitely. I think it was later in the day towards day one, even. I think I found my stride working with, again, just everybody on set, my fellow photographer peers. I think I was shooting, Dorina in white, or Dorina was I think day two. I remember just looking into, you know, the preview of my lens, and the lighting was just glowing and just like a spark hit. And I think that's really where things kind of started to take off. So, when I got home and was starting to sift through some of the this vast content, I think it just gets better and better and better and better with almost each and every different shot. So yeah, I think there was just so many great memories and experiences. The versatility, I think, was also unique. One day we're on the beach, the next we're in the desert. And that was, I think, also helpful of just, you know, knowing your audience and your environment and lighting and being prepared, I think, too, for me, who has really limited, next to none, real world experience on high production, high value sets, to just, I think, also be ready for anything to capture that perfect shot, not being afraid to get in and try a different angle, get low, get high. And then also, Kevin, honestly, the first time I've ever used a gimbal was with you, and
Oh, nice.
the way that you assisted and taught me all of that was, I think, just phenomenal. I actually went out and got a gimbal because I had so much fun, and just
nice.
just the slow-mo and the epic shots that came with that. I think the videography elements, it has also, I'm going to say, opened a new door for me to explore as well. So if anything, I feel like, check mark, I can do this. Now it's even taking it to another level. But yeah, the gimbal, I know you had a drone on set a couple of days, and that was just epic.
I did, yeah. We're going to showcase some of that content too. But yeah, we shot with drones, we shot with gimbals, we did, we had these 8K R5s, and we're shooting at 4K at 120 frames a second, both on gimbals and on aerial drones. So it was amazing. But yeah, content like this, I mean, this is shot, out on location in Hermosa Beach, just stunning sequence with Darina wearing this unbelievable dress, beautiful storytelling here. And I had a blast with you, Matt. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. And this is the start of like the cornerstone of your portfolio going forward. And this is why it's awesome that you're coming to these upcoming workshops. You're coming to two upcoming workshops, right? You're going to be doing the New York workshop and the masterclass. Is that right?
That's right.
Excellent. And if you can swing doing Miami, Miami is, I believe there's one final spot left in Miami. It's going to be exceptional. That's our next workshop. It's coming up in just a couple of weeks. And this one, it's going to be shooting both swim as well as lifestyle photography. I know many of you guys have been to this workshop before, like Mike Weilet. I believe Prince has been. Mike Weilet's done this one like maybe 4 times. I know many of you guys have attended this one in person, and it's an experience of a lifetime. But this one, and there's actually me with a gimbal. So that's what he's talking about, using that Ronin with an R5, but just with a supermodel next to me. But this is the experience of a lifetime. I have to say, of all the workshops we do, this is probably the most fun of all the workshops. So like, if you think you had fun at the masterclass, honestly, this one is like ridiculous. Like, it's just so fun being on location in Miami Beach, shooting with swimsuit models. It's, we're at these ridiculous locations. They're just absolutely stunning, and the talent is out of this world. This was actually at one of the ones at with these supermodels, such as this girl was Universe. We had a Playboy supermodel, cover model. We had girls that have been in Sports Illustrated, Victoria's Secret, and this is just on the 2 swim days, because we offer that. And if you want to shoot lifestyle on the swim days, we also have that option too, because we have some photographers that don't want swim, they just want to shoot lifestyle. And then on the other days, we're doing high-end resort lifestyle commercial advertising, which I think would be really beneficial for you, Matt, as doing the high-end resort lifestyle commercial advertising photography. And we're doing 3 days of that. So the majority of the workshop's actually the commercial lifestyle stuff. And we are the only photographic workshop in the world that offers commercial lifestyle advertising photography. And the reason that is because it's very, very, very hard to do. It's very expensive. And doing these, massive scale commercial lifestyle productions, they look simple, but they're extremely complicated. And we've done scenes in Miami Beach with even like 5, 6, even 7 models in a scene, really complex scenarios. We've shot at resorts like the Four Seasons Miami. We've had the Fontainebleau, the Setai, the One Hotel, the Royal Palm, the Grand Beach. We've shot at probably 15 of the best resorts in Miami Beach for the lifestyle sections and swim. And this gives you a little bit of an idea of what that looks like. So if you can make it, if you can swing it, Matt, that would be pretty transformative for you. And it's a completely different experience. And as you can tell, each one of these workshops, from like the French Dream Castle, completely different than the Miami Beach workshop, completely different than the Elite Masterclass, completely different than the Los Angeles Lifestyle Masterclass, and totally different than New York. So every experience is completely different. But if you were, you mentioned a few things, Matt, earlier about, not to worry about, being like inexperienced, not to worry about, feeling unprepared and stuff like that. What did you feel like? Did you gain a lot of confidence going forward? Do you feel like with your portfolio, it's able to open a lot of doors now for you?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. That's probably an understatement. I think definitely the confidence, but I think it's even just the credibility. Like the photos speak for themselves, and people are even, my circle is, I've just gotten so many compliments, and just the quality. It's Kevin, how you guys put it all together, it just all comes to life, and it really is that there's magic that literally happens on set, and it just all comes to life, and it's just a joy to capture it. But I think, yeah, absolutely, I think there's just like this photo credibility that has really upped my cred and my professionalism. And then as I have outreach, I have real world proof sources with high-end elite models and designers, and I have been on production, and I have on sets with wardrobe stylists, and these entire ecosystem of folks who make it all happen. And honestly, Kevin, I think also just hearing and learning just simple lingo, and understanding the little nuances, I think were also helpful for me. So I think when other professionals, they take you more serious when you are able to maybe speak, or you can kind of hang with them, and that's opened up some new doors, even just as recent as this past week from just being back. So,
well, that's awesome. I love that. It's happening so fast. I love that. And now is when all the magic happens. And we're going to work with you, Matt, as we have before the workshop, during the workshop, and then going after the workshop. We're going to really be working with you heavily, through the Photography University, through the in-person workshops, and just ongoing coaching, because we want you to succeed. We want you to win. That's the most important thing to me, is that you win. That's what this is all about. And it's not just coming and taking some cool pictures at a workshop. It's like, no, this is going to change your life, and it's going to change your life going forward. And you're going to be a different, human being afterwards. And it's great to see, and it's fantastic to have you on. But excellent. Well, thank you so much, Matt. I really appreciate you joining us. Your images are stunning, and I can't wait to see you at the next experience.
Yeah, likewise. I can't say it enough. I'm looking forward to it. Literally counting the days. So
awesome! Yeah. I can't wait. If you can hop in Miami, it's going to be a blast. So I'm so stoked for what we have in store for Miami. It's going to be ridiculous. And I know Mike Weilet, who's on right now, he's going to be with us. He's actually designing a lot of the concepts and involved in the model casting and all that stuff. So we're going to create some magic for that. Anyway, thank you so much, Matt. And we'll see you soon, man.
All right, great. Thank you, Kevin.
All right. I'd love to ask the next panelist on, and also answer any of you guys' questions. I know the great Lenworth Johnson, and also Tom J. And also I would love to invite Joel Mora on as well. Those guys are all ones that just attended this most recent workshop. And I would really be honored to see you guys come on live. So if you guys, all of you guys, I know some of you have made comments in there. If you haven't made a comment, please do right now, because I would love for you guys to jump on and speak. I would love, we got the great Tom J. Good to see you, buddy. And Tom, Tom is just a brilliant photographer, really great person. And I've had the privilege of having and there's Joel too. Fantastic to see you guys. Excellent. I love it. So let's start with Tom. Tom, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where you're from, and your journey with me with the Photography Workshop Series, because this was the second experience that you had with me in the last year, and I'd love you to tell us all about it.
Yeah, I was in Newport Beach a year ago, February. And this was my second one. I'm going to be in the Castle in July, and New York in September.
Yes.
Hello to all my fellow photographers. It's fun to see you all. Joel.
Absolutely.
these things are just amazing. I can't describe. I mean, you can watch Kevin describe it, but until you've done it, you can't even imagine it really, because it's an experience that you can't just get anywhere. And to have, especially also the ongoing instruction you get from Kevin and Eric and Ivan, I suppose, and Priscilla. It's just, I don't know, you can't fathom it. You don't get that anywhere else, I don't think, that I know of. But you know, you get this collection of epic shots that look so cool on your websites. I've got so many now, I don't know what to do with. And I'm going to get a bunch more.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you for your kind words, Tom. Tell me about your experience at the masterclass, because this was a bit different than the lifestyle workshop. You came to the Newport Beach commercial lifestyle workshop, completely different experience. This was your first high fashion workshop. So what did it feel like being on set and shooting content at this magnitude?
Ooh, that's my shot.
That's your shot?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's quite different, I guess. It's all still fun. You don't get the smiles and stuff that you do with the lifestyle. I kind of enjoy that. But, the circus thing was over the top. Hair and makeup and styling and everything else. It's just crazy. I couldn't have even dreamt it up. So it's fun. Joel said he couldn't hear me. I don't know.
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you. Okay. You sound great, Tom.
Thanks.
This work is absolutely breathtaking. And I just want to make a comment too. I mean, it's not just the production is spectacular. The styling's over the top, the hair, the makeup, the wardrobe, the location, every detail, the propping too, very carefully placed. But also your photography is really great. You did a really great job capturing these moments, Tom. I'm really, really happy with the story that you're telling, the angles you're shooting. The settings are all perfect. Like you really knocked it out of the park, and like little things, you know, like the placement of the cannon and the placement of the balls, the placement of the balloons, the cage, and all that. Those are all conscious choices in the angle that you're shooting at. And also this is complex because we're shooting with multiple strobes here. It's a very complex lighting situation, location lit, a lot of moving parts here, and also models have been styled for like 4 hours before the scene took place. So there's a lot of preparation, right?
Yeah, they were in hair and makeup for a long time.
Was there a certain scene during this day that you just really stood out to you and made you made you smile?
I don't know. That one there is pretty cute, but they were all. I couldn't pick, but and I didn't get to stay the whole day because I had to leave. But I had a flight, but.
Yeah, this one's insane. I love this one.
It's all crazy.
Storytelling here, the hair, the location. I mean, just everything is just so over the top here. But I mean, this is out of like a movie poster. That's what this looks like. Is a movie poster. This is next level production. And a lot of people, if they didn't know that this was photographed by you, I mean, they probably would think this is all AI because it's so beautiful and so over the top, which is a huge compliment, by the way. That it's so over the top and amazing. But what's great is we also we shot all this amazing video content behind the scenes. And also you should have your hard drive because I mailed it out. So you should have.
I did. I got it. Thank you.
Excellent. So after the workshops, all the 8K camera footage that we shot in 4K at 120 frames a second, I mail hard drives of all the content to all the photographers that attended so that they can now use it as their master video reel so that they can start incorporating that into their websites and stuff. So that's awesome, Tom. So tell me that now you've done 2 workshops, you're coming to a couple more. What are some of the things that that you found to be like the most exceptional parts of the workshop experience to be there?
I have to pick a couple things.
A couple things of your favorites that really stand out to you.
Everything. I mean, the whole production, and of course, down to the catering. I mean, it's all over the top. I mean, you don't scrimp anywhere. It'd be fun to be you.
It's true. It's true. That's what's fun about these productions is you guys, you're sharing the costs with all the photographers involved. So what happens is the scale of productions becomes so opulent that you can literally do like anything you could imagine. This is just a little clip of some of the video. Oh, it's banding a little bit, but this is a little clip of the video, shooting with a parachute out in the desert. This is just on, I believe this was day 4 of the workshops. This is the day before the circus. Just to give you a little feel of what that, feels like and looks like. Completely over the top. No scrimping, just totally over the top production. And we want to make sure that the photographers have access to the best of the best. Now, we're talking about producing today, which is planning, designing shoots and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that? Because you've got to experience and see how I produce these huge productions. Are there any nuances or things that stood out to you as far as like the actual planning and the producing and the design of the production?
Well, all of it, it's all foreign to me. I'm from a little town in Central Oregon, and I wouldn't know where to get a hold of any of this stuff. So that's where to begin. But that's where, that's what I'm learning, I think, or I hope to learn at some point. But,
absolutely. Okay. Excellent. Well, these are magical. I mean, I'm seeing like iconic image after iconic image after iconic image. You are right. This is really, really hard to choose from, Tom, because your work is so good that it's really hard to like choose just the best of the best pictures. So it is a problem. So that's why after the workshop, what we do, have you done your image review yet with Eric?
Yeah, just this morning.
Fantastic. So that's what we like to do is, we work with you before, during, and after. So after the workshop, we also will do a hands-on image review with, one of our team members, one of our coaches, so that we can help coach you and guide you on what are the best select images. Because otherwise we're a little lost. You have so many thousands of images that are amazing. How do you just pick just one from each scene? Because that's all you need is one from each scene. So, in this case, we're, helping you select for them, right?
I had trouble picking 40.
Yeah.
Each day.
Exactly.
Then having to pick just a few.
Yeah.
But Eric's really good at that. He went right through them and click, click, click. And this one, yeah.
Excellent. Yes.
Yeah.
There's actually, I'm going to show a few more clips here of some of the video to give you guys a little taste of what the actual video looks like, which also, by the way, was shot by, the photographers that we're talking to. These are shot by, Tom and Nick and, and all the photographers that were there, Joel, and everybody is actually gets a chance to operate the gimbal and shoot with the drone and shoot this amazing content. So you guys get a taste of shooting, high production, commercial kind of thing, like a fashion film. So that was really fun.
I'm excited to get my gimbal and my drone out.
Absolutely. And you've got all the equipment already, and Tom just hadn't really had a chance to like use it yet. So it's really cool. Like on his own time, he has the equipment already. And this gives him like more of the confidence and the ability to be like, yeah, okay, I can do the drone now. Okay, I can do the gimbal now. Like I get it. I feel it. And I know how to do all the best techniques, which is, I think, really valuable to be able to know. Yeah. Excellent. And of all the days, I mean, you had 5 unbelievable shoot days. Was there a certain scene that like really stood out that you remember that you're like, oh my gosh, like this is the one?
I think day 3 at the Stone House was pretty awesome because you had so many different things to shoot, so many different looks.
Yeah.
I think that day was maybe my favorite shoot day. I don't know. They're all pretty cool.
Fantastic. No, that's fantastic. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I would say that was one of mine too. I feel like it was really exceptional. This is a little bit of video content from that day to give you guys an idea. This is actually the first scene of the day too, by the way. This is in the middle of the day, brutal light, absolutely brutal light, middle of the day. But shooting some just, gorgeous stuff here. With these gorgeous models, absolutely stunning sequence, and just gorgeous fashion styling. Every detail kind of came together to make this absolutely amazing. So awesome. Shot with that black stallion. We shot with this like vintage gas station. We shot with all these top models, and the models were pretty exceptional, weren't they?
Yes, I have a hard time keeping track of who's who. And so in question and answer there, I asked if you could shoot me that model list. So I have the names of the models from each day.
100%. Yeah. No, I absolutely. And that way, you can
put them on Instagram. I want to
100%. 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to keep track of who was who.
And by the way, somebody asked a question earlier about copyright and stuff like that. And yes, you guys all own the copyright. So all pictures that you take, just so you guys know for future reference, any picture that originates from you and your camera, you own it. That's your picture. Okay. You're the creator. It is your picture. Now, there are other things that get involved where, in regards to, the people in the picture, there's usage on that and stuff like that. But all the pictures are yours. You own them. So you have the right to use them. And in this case, for all of your portfolio, your website, your marketing, as well as editorial publication, which is awesome. So that's essentially what you can use, because we want you to use these pictures. They're the most valuable things you're going to have going forward, because they're kind of the cornerstone of your photographic body of work going forward. Now, Tom, you're coming to the castle coming up, and you're going to create some just insane images at the castle. And I'm really excited to host you and your wonderful wife there, because you guys are going to have an experience of a lifetime at the French Dream Castle. We're planning an unbelievable experience that's going to be like literally out of this world. And I'm really, really happy you guys are coming. And Tom also had recommended some certain things that he wanted. So I'm going to be incorporating that. He mentioned some like shooting some kind of high-end wedding sequences. We talked about some period stories as well. So we're going to be incorporating stuff like this that we've done with ultra high-end wedding photography at the castle, as well as like period piece stuff kind of like this, which we're really excited. So we're going to be incorporating what Tom wants, and then Tom's going to be like living the life at the palace with his wife, having this experience of a lifetime that you can't really get anywhere else. So awesome. Well, Tom, I can't wait to see you. I'm really, really excited. I can't wait to make some magic happen. We're planning some really spectacular stuff for you and your lovely wife. And the castle is going to be, I believe, your next stop in July. And it's going to be like life-changing. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and great work on all the amazing photography. And thanks for sharing.
You bet. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Matt, tell William hi. Matt had his little son there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Matt brought his little son on set with us too. That was awesome.
Awesome kid.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Tom. Take care.
You bet.
Awesome. All right. And then I would love Joel to jump on as well as Lenworth. So if you guys wouldn't mind to ask to speak or to write in the chat, that would be absolutely fantastic. And I'd love for Lenworth as well as Joel to jump on and to talk. And yes, we should be able to hear you guys as well. So I'll invite you guys. Anyway, the content's insane. The video content is so high resolution that it's like almost hard to play, because the content's so it's so good and so high resolution that it kind of like has a delay when I replay it here. But it's unbelievable content. So I'm gonna get finally edited. All right, we have the great Lenworth Johnson and Joel Mora. Great to see you guys.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Let's start with Lenworth here. And Lenworth, you know, this was an incredible experience. You got to work with me in New York at the New York workshop. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what your experience was like at the Elite MasterClass, you know, shooting with the circus, James Bond, at the beach, shooting with at the stone house in the mountains with the horses, as well as out in the desert. Tell us about your experience.
It was incredible. It was an amazing 5 days. The level of production quality, it's like never seen that before. It felt as if you were literally on a movie set. You know, you brought in incredible models, incredible stylists, hair, makeup, the whole team, the production team. I could literally say, hey, I need that, and it was done. I put my hand up, they know exactly what to do. It was incredible. And working at that level just elevates your craft to another place.
Absolutely. Well, it was awesome to have you there, and you did amazing stuff. And I would say, like, just next level as far as production really adds to your credibility, Lenworth. So how do you feel about that? I mean, now you're kind of like catapulted to another level. Tell us about like how you feel about now, based, you know, like 2 weeks ago you were a different photographer. Now you're like on another planet. Tell us about that.
So confidence. So you understand like the nuances of what is taking place behind the scene, what to do, what not to do, how to get the team together, how to select props and all that stuff that goes on behind the scene that the client doesn't necessarily see and understand. You know, you understand all those nuances. So it just elevates your craft and give you more confidence to get this thing going, which is absolutely epic.
Excellent. Excellent. And was there a certain like scene or sequence that you're just like totally fell in love with that you just can't even get out of your mind?
You know what? I'm leaning towards that desert day.
Nice.
That scene with the Coca-Cola chest and the right by the gas station. There's something special with that scene. I love that scene. It was absolutely epic.
Nice. Yes. So when we shot on day 3 out with the gas station, we saw some of the images earlier where we shot with the horse and all that stuff. But yeah, we also shot with this vintage gas station. So tell me a little bit about that and about like you know, what you liked about that story that you told.
So the whole vibe of the gas station, it's almost like unreal. And then you have the 2 models come in. You have what's her name? Tall girl,
Dorina.
And you have what's his name that was with her? They're absolutely amazing. Standing by the gas station with this rugged, you know, kind of timeless trunk. It just tells a different story, and you could do so much with that scene, which was incredible. You know, the feel of the gas station itself and what's on the interior. You could frame the shot in so many different ways and get so much out of it. It was incredible.
Nice. Yeah. I also, like, I have to say, I also am in love not only with that scene, and I'm going to show that too, but I really love what you did here in front of the stone house. I mean, this looks very like Vanity Fair. Okay?
Yes.
It's very It's very like upscale. And you notice you did a lot of different stuff, Lenworth, throughout the week. You know, the circus was like over the top and totally avant-garde and ridiculous. But this is more like, you know, this is what you'd see in Vanity Fair, Vogue, Elle. It's like that very like, you know, in fashion kind of thing right now. Mm-hmm. And I felt like that you did an amazing job here, especially with bright light. But like, look at those faces. I mean, they're just stunning, these girls. And
they were amazing.
And by the way, guys, I just want to point this out. These are not retouched. These are not like retouched pictures. These are out of camera. Okay. So Lenworth is so good that his images are perfect out of camera. And there's very little post-production that even needs to happen here because they're just so darn good. This is also an inside scene, which was really complex. Love the sequence. Really complicated. What did you think about this one too? We got to shoot with lighting inside on location at this cool vibe.
I think out of all the shoots we did out of the 5 days, this was probably one of the most complex scene as
Yeah.
far as all the different lighting situations we were dealing with the lights hanging, light coming in through the window, light coming in through the door, adding flash to it, and creating that whole scene was something else. I learned, and I consider myself like next level on lighting. But
Yeah.
this scene like just took that up a notch.
Yeah. And also just building the confidence to be able to do it next time you're in this situation, because it was so complicated.
Yes, because you walk in and you understand, okay, you got to place the light here to match what's coming in there. So it gives you that kind of confidence to go into a scene and take command of your set and get the images that, will be iconic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now let's look at some of these, because these are the gas station ones that you were talking about. And these are cool. And by the way, guys, this is a built set. So this is not it was not like there originally. This was like something built for a film set. So like this is an actual like film set type of location, and that's all they do there. It's very busy, very booked up too. This set was actually booked, like I think this was like the 13th shoot this month or last month at that location. So I mean, this is like a very popular film set, and it's amazing. I mean, they do music videos all the time. They do films, TV, fashion shoots. So I mean, it's a very, very in kind of place. But yeah, love the vibe of the guy. Great double page spreads here too, Lenworth.
Yes,
it's great with all the negative space. You notice that like he's placing the models on camera right, negative space on camera left. Really smart in the way he art directed this.
And that was one thing I was focused on when I shot. I was like deliberately flipping sides just to see which side would work best for magazine spreads. So all those was deliberate.
Absolutely. And they look amazing.
Yeah.
And the models are stunning. I mean, these are just, look at these faces. And again, like, guys, these are unretouched pictures out of camera, and they're this good. I mean, that's what I'm so proud about, is this like unbelievable content. And this is just from one of the days, right?
Yes.
So really, really exceptional.
Yeah. And I mean, all the days were epic, and it's when you ask like which was the favorite, it's really hard to choose a favorite day, because from a $16 million mansion to the hills to the valleys, everything was incredible.
Well, Lenworth, I feel like what I really see here too is just like really, and I saw this also in some of the videos that we saw earlier too that were showcasing. This is very high end, like it just has a very like elite high end, upscale brand kind of feeling, and it's something that's extremely marketable. So we can go after any of the mainstream top fashion magazines. We can go after any of the mainstream top fashion brands with this kind of body of work. This is it. You've literally catapulted yourself to the next level. So I'm super, super excited to see at where everything goes. This is fantastic. By the way, I just want to answer some questions in the chat here. Digna asks, after we shoot at the workshop, after sending to publication, being a fashion photographer in a base level, I know how much your creative team values and connection to have these talents on board. I feel until you climb that ladder by yourself, it's impossible to have production like this if you get hired from anyone. And you're right, Jigna. I mean, that's why photographers like Lenworth here, and Tom and Joel and Matt, they're coming to these experiences so that they can get this production level, like Lenworth just said, so that now he has this body of work that no one can ever take away from him. Lenworth has now risen to another level, and now everyone is like, oh, wow, okay, so Lenworth's way up here. Okay, so if he's way up here, okay, he's at we can book him, or maybe he's even too good for us, and we're lucky if we get him. And that's where we want. It's all about brand perception. And Lenworth has catapulted his brand, and this is a second workshop. So he did New York with me before. He's just did the masterclass with me now, and I know you're going to be coming to some upcoming ones. We talked about getting involved in the commercial lifestyle advertising workshop in Newport.
Absolutely.
Which, Tom went to, and many of the other photographers on here have been to. Evan Siegel's been to that one like 4 times. And Lenworth now wants to get into the big commercial advertising world, which is fantastic. But great question, Digna. And that's something that's why we do these, because it's this chicken or the egg thing. And I'll be honest, without this scale of production, it's almost impossible to land the huge productions. It's just, it's that chicken. And so unless you have, you know, Vogue booking you already, unless you've already shot for Vogue, you're not going to shoot for Vogue. Yeah. But if you shot content that's at that level, Vogue models and Vogue stylists and at this level, it's that much easier to be able to land the big opportunities. And that's where we want you to be. We want Len. Yeah. So,
and you got to also keep in mind that we now have access
exactly
to the production team, the stylists. We have that access now. So, you know, it takes it to that level where you can reach out to someone.
Definitely. Well, that's it. You know, so Lenworth brought up a good point. My Rolodex is now your Rolodex when you get involved with us. So now Lenworth's team is my team. He just worked with the best hairstylists in the world, Noogie Tai. Okay. Yeah. He now can work with Noogie Tai whenever he wants, you know, through me, you know, because he knows me. And he's like, oh, well, I worked with Kevin. I was at that. I'd love to book you. And it's the same thing with Oliver Vaughn and Damaris Valverde and all these unbelievable people. You know, he now is at that echelon and has that network because that's everything. So I'm super proud of you. You know, the content is really, really next level. And it allowed him to just, you know, really elevate himself beyond anything he's ever done before. And I'm really proud. And as you can tell, each workshop that you do gets better and better, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I don't even know if it's better and better is a word. I don't even know if that's the right word. I think it's way beyond that. And, you know, because as you know, I've talked to you before in the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't know. But then once you do it, you're like, oh, crap, this is it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I'm really proud of you and what you accomplished, Lenworth. I think that we're seeing a new chapter in your life, and this is going to be it. So
absolutely.
I can't wait to see you going forward, and I can't wait to see you in the upcoming ones like Newport and then furthering on this epic brand. But thank you so much, man. And
absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
You take care, Lenworth.
All right.
All right. And Joel, if you wouldn't mind turning your camera on, I'd love to see your beautiful face. Now, Joel, you had at first, I believe you had, this was your very first workshop with us. And, you know, and this was like your total first run at this experience. And I'm really excited to hear your perspective because just like Matt, you know, this is your very first workshop. And Matt and Joel, I can't see your video, so I don't know if you want to turn that back on. But I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your experience and what it was like to be at the photography workshop series. Oh, it looks like he's having some connection issues. That's okay. Meanwhile, I'd like to answer some of your guys' questions because I know so many of you guys are writing stuff in the chat and stuff like that. And Fred Bergeron asks, what camera and settings did you use? Great question. So throughout this workshop, I shot all with the Canon R5, best camera ever made. Love that camera. I have the R5 and the R5C. Had both of them on set. I do actually prefer the R5 more so because I would say it's very user-friendly to photographers, whereas the R5C, it's a little bit more of a video production camera. So it's a little bit more complex. And of course, when I'm shooting with the R5 on set, I want to make sure all the photographers get access to use my equipment if they need it too. So oftentimes the gimbal on the Ronin is all shot with the R5. It's an excellent camera, best camera ever made. And also they came out with a Canon R5 Mark II, which honestly is not any better. It's literally like the exact same camera, so completely unnecessary to upgrade. But yeah, a lot of these scenes, especially well throughout the whole week, most of them were shot with an ISO 100. Most of them were shot anywhere between, I would say most of it was about f11 at about 250th of a second. But depends on the scene. If there was a lot of movement, it would have been a faster shutter speed. But I would say minimum of a 250th of a second. And then some of the movement scenes were more like 1,000th of a second or faster. But generally, I do try to stay at ISO 100 to maximize the sharpness and clarity of the image. And then I also like to shoot with a fairly deep aperture. And the reason that is because I want to see everything in the scene. I don't want, if I'm shooting with 3 models, for instance, we're just looking at Lenworth's pictures. And if we're looking at Lenworth's pictures and we have 3 models in a scene, well, if I'm shooting in an f2.8, then one of the models is going to be totally blurry, right? or maybe the model's eye is going to be sharp and the other model's and the model's hair is going to be blurry. So in a sequence like this, everything's sharp. Everything is sharp, from the stones on the back of the house to the horse to the 3 models. Everything is beautifully sharp, and that's because I'm shooting with a deep aperture. So in this case, I think this was probably close to an f13 at around 250th of a second, ISO 100. I would imagine it was around those settings for this. This is Leonard with shot, but that's, I think, similar to what I was shooting. If we are shooting with strobes, we're going to obviously adjust for that. Oftentimes, depending on the camera and the strobe you're working with and the sync of it, oftentimes you wouldn't want the strobe to be faster than, or your shutter speed to be faster than 160th of a second. Otherwise, sometimes it doesn't sync properly with the strobes. So if you are shooting with strobes, I would say 160th of a second is a good shutter speed for something like that. And we did have those types of circumstances. Let's see if Joel can jump back on, and he hopefully has better luck with his video, because I'd love to hear from him. But thank you guys so much. This is so wonderful. I love all the positive comments in the chat. You guys are so amazing to each other, which I really appreciate. This is a really awesome group, and as Joel knows, it's good to see you, Joel. As Joel knows, I mean, everybody at the workshop was so amazing to work with. You know, I think there were we had you know, there's basically like 10 of us at the workshop, so it was a small group of us at the photographers. There was and then I had my massive set of, I had 5 photographic assistants that were waiting on you hand and foot. I had at the circus, I think we had actually like 9, including the staff at the circus. So we had like 9 assistants. But I had like 5 photographic assistants. I have hairstylist, hairstyling assistant, makeup artist, fashion stylist, fashion styling assistant, and then of course all the models. So each day we've got about, I would say, you know, around 10 photographers, and in total we have maybe 25, 30 people on set, just to give you an idea. But great question. So Joel, so good to have you on. Tell us about your experience. I mean, this is your first workshop, so I want to hear all about it.
First one, yes. My first workshop, I was kind of like, I was very nervous because I didn't know what to expect. The first day, I would say, just going into that beach house, I was like, okay, the beach house is unreal. And just like meeting everyone, and just like we're all on the same page, we're all on this together. So talking to Matt, and it was telling me that it was his first, we was able to kind of like bond in a way, but it was just weird because I didn't know what to expect. So at first I was kind of like, oh my God, because it was cold, the weather was intense, but we pulled through, and forget about it. I mean, the content was just, the production was insane. I would say definitely I took a lot of notes, you know, just mental notes, and like and I said, you know what, this is definitely possible. I mean, once you're in that situation, it's just like you figure out ways to see how you can either I wouldn't say necessarily mimic, but definitely take notes on a lot of the direction how Kevin directed and stuff like that, which is something that I always wanted to learn more of. But yeah, it was an amazing workshop.
Excellent.
I do have some favorite days too. But
tell me about it. That's what I want to hear. Tell me about your favorite days of the photography workshop series, the Elite MasterClass. So my favorite day was definitely day 4. I feel like just being out in the wilderness, I say. It was, oh my God, it was amazing. It was such a fresh breath of air. I was able to even shoot the type of things that I like to shoot, which is like flowy dresses and big, just the parachute scene was amazing. Just just with me, I love color. So it was just like it was just like made for me. I think that day, and I was like, wow. And it was a pretty long day too, but I was like, I'm not leaving here until I get the shot. And I took more shots than I ever thought, but you definitely gonna have enough options leaving out of the workshop. I would say. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is what he's referring to. We shot with this insane parachute in the rock cliffs. And also, you know, this doesn't do it justice, but this was a very cold and uncomfortable day. We had a lot of really crazy weather the week we were doing the workshop. But I have contingencies. I have plans. I have strategies to deal with this. This was a horrendous wind. When we arrived in the morning, the winds were whipping at like 35 miles per hour. And there's dust everywhere. We're out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's no facilities, none. There's no building, no structures, no bathrooms, nothing. So we had to bring in RVs, production vehicles. I had like everything was mobile, and just making sure that the models were happy, the stylists were happy. And, and luckily what we did was we moved. So in the beginning, we're out on a dry lake bed in the middle of a whipping wind. I ended up moving in between these two, in this canyon, basically. And what Joel's referring to is this scene right there. You actually can see in the distance there, there's the RV in the back left there. And then we set up with this parachute, tied it to a boulder, by the way, which I thought was awesome. And then we used the wind to our advantage. So that now we're using the wind to our advantage, which was awesome. And it was a really cool method to showcase the photographers let's use the environmental challenges to our advantage and make magic happen. And this ended up being one of my favorite scenes of the whole week as well, Joel. So I love it. So tell me about, because you've probably never done any shoots at this scale before. What did that feel like to shoot at this scale?
Oh my God. Oh my gosh, it was definitely incredible. I would say usually when I do my own shoots, it's always like I have to do everything, so not to worry. The production team was amazing. They were able to help with the scrims, just like moving things around, and not me worrying about just my composition and my lighting, and making sure that I was not too focused on everything else other than the connection with the model. And that was very important to me. And I was able to enjoy more of taking the pictures, which was the art process of it all.
Absolutely. So instead of having to worry about all the logistics, the challenges, the complexities, the dramas, the hassle, the equipment, and all that, you just got to walk on set and create great images.
Yeah. And I was able to connect with some of the models, and just like the whole team, the stylists, the makeup artists. They were very, very nice. Also giving them like little things that can kind of work, in the scene. So they will jump in and fix the hair, and it's just like, everything it worked seamlessly.
Yeah. Yeah. And wow, this is cool with the solar flare. Yeah, I love this. And I had, it's because you got my dream team there. I've been working with these people.
Yeah.
I've been here in LA, for 19 years shooting. So I've got my A-list team, and I've got, all the best of the best people that are now your people. And that's what I'm really excited about. But these sequences, they're just magical images here. Absolutely breathtaking scenes. And I love this. This is just beautiful lighting, really soft and breathtaking, incredible models. The location is insane right here. This is just a stunning location. So Joel, I'm really excited. I know each day it was really cool because you got excited. I think like day one or whatever, you were so excited. You already enrolled in the next workshop, but then it kept getting better. It kept getting more over the top and more epic and more ridiculous. And then it gets into this final culmination where we get to like the desert and the circus and stuff like that. And at the end of the experience, I'm sure it was pretty life transforming for you, wasn't it?
Yes, I kind of took a lot of notes in how to find the right composition, because you taught me how to just like aim at the scene that you really wanted, not get too much sky, or just like to get the right composition. I think that was a big for me. And obviously, I love posing models. That's like one of my favorite things to do. So having just like everything come together is was just amazing, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you learned a lot of new posing techniques and strategies throughout this process. And you got some just, stunning images throughout this. Really incredible. A lot of different wardrobe changes. To me, still, this is one of my absolute favorites here, like this scene, as well as this one. And this one was, this is iconic. We're talking iconic here. And then, of course, my absolute overall favorite is going to be this. This is just drop the mic. You are now an iconic photographer.
Yes. No, definitely. I would have never been able to shoot this type of production, this type of scene, if it wasn't for you. So I want to thank you. This is the type of stuff that I always wanted to shoot. Just always growing up, watching America's Next Top Model, them doing big, gigantic shoots, and I'm like, how am I ever going to do something like that? So being a part of this and being there live was definitely breathtaking.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Joel. I had an absolute
of course.
blast with you, and I can't wait to see you going forward. And we've got you coming to an upcoming experience. But take care,
Yes.
and I can't wait to have you once again, and many, many more times in the future. It's going to be a blast.
Yes.
All right.
I'm excited.
Take care, man. All right.
Bye.
Well, thank you guys. Well, you guys saw some of the most mind-blowing content I think we've ever done at the Elite Masterclass Photography Workshop Series experiences. You guys got to learn some aspects of producing and how to make magic happen. I revealed a lot of secrets I don't typically do. These are a lot of like very transparent methods and strategies that will massively help you in your career. And I want you guys to all win. I really do. Just like all the photographers that came on today, all 4 of them that came on today. I mean, I am so proud of them. I'm so excited to see their excellence going forward and achieve absolute greatness. And if you guys want to get involved in any of these upcoming experiences, jump on, click on the link